It's Friday, April 20th, 2012, and here's what's happening in other news. In other news, I hear is brought to you by Mechagodzilla. Isn't that right, Chad?
It is. It is brought to you by Mechagodzilla. He is like Godzilla, but also a robot. So
yeah.
He's double awesome.
That's right. He's double awesome. Mechagodzilla was seen on previous episodes of In Other News. In other news, if you're wondering what the show is right now, I'm going to go just jump right ahead. This is where we have a laid-back look at tech news. I'm Ayaz Akhtar. How about you, Tony?
I'm Tony Wang.
I'm Chad Johnson.
And hey, who do we have behind the station there? Is that Greg?
I'm Greg Burnett.
Greg, how was the intro?
Who else is that behind you, Greg? Because it seems like you have a son.
We have Eli here.
Oh, that's great.
Your younger brother.
Is he your son?
The prodigal son.
Oh, that's great.
He's on Prodigy still? Yeah. Why is he on Prodigy? Get him on CompuServe. Seriously. That's
great. That's great.
There we go.
I'm so glad.
Anyway, let's start this show because it's gonna be something else. Okay, so Chumby's dead. This is very depressing news.
Who?
Chumby. If you guys remember Chumby, does anybody remember Chumby? It's just me.
It's that guy who...
the thing. He's the one that invented the thing.
Yeah.
With the apps and the thing. Leo has one.
I used him all the time.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I mean,
I don't think we have to... Is that in the transition for some reason?
I don't know.
Greg?
It's awesome.
Calling for that.
Did he just prank you?
So every time
I'm not really sure why he's
gonna...
So what happened to Chumby?
Well, anyway, so Chumby was this cool open source widgetized kind of device. So the original one kind of looked like a car headrest. It was a big soft device, and what you would do is it was like an intelligent alarm clock. You could run apps, you could like get woken up with Pandora, this kind of stuff. But they tried to reinvent themselves. They went out and got their platform taken up by LG, Best Buy, Sony talked about having them in their Dash digital picture frame tablet thing. But Chumby is finally pretty much dead. They pretty much transferred all of their workers to Technicolor, and they did say, because Chumby is built into certain software, certain hardware, that they're hoping that somebody just buys the assets and continues it. But Chumby, I had a soft spot for them, and it looks like they're dead.
You actually liked him?
Yeah, well, they were one of the first ones that had this widgetized thing. Like, there was all these digital picture frames out there that weren't very useful. This is pre-tablets. You know, but to have a device that was not a laptop, that allowed touchscreen and gave you a bunch of information right up front, especially when you woke up. This was a simple thing I like to know. When I would wake up, I'd want to know what the weather was. And Chumby
was it slick? It seems like it was like well made, maybe.
No. The first version was pretty rough around the edges. It was all open source, so they did a lot of cool stuff. It was a lot of experimental technology that just didn't work out because they couldn't get all the technologies together at the right time.
I'm wondering if they could sort of do what Sega did, where they ditch the hardware and somehow continue on with software. Maybe they could have a Chumby app for Android, or iOS.
That's the thing. Why would you bother to develop for that? You would just end up developing for Android directly or iOS instead. That's what's the downside about this. Because even Sony left them.
It seems like they were pretty tied in with hardware and not so much with software.
They were such a nice company. I remember visiting with them at CES. Nice people. That's a shame. So that's there we go. I'll bring you down first off. But let's talk about something way more fun. Path's coming to Windows Phone. Tony, you got a Windows Phone. Are you excited about Path coming to Windows Phone?
I didn't know about this, and
I'll just tell you right now. Dave Morin, the CEO of Path, said that they are working on a version. We are, quote, also beginning work on Windows Phone, mostly because we believe the product is really good. I don't know if you guys play with Windows Phone, but it's actually quite impressive, end quote. So Windows Phone is going to get Path, and you guys can join the iOS and Android people and Path together.
That's exciting for me because, I don't have a Windows Phone, but one of the things I like about Path is that everything is user-created. You can't really bring in YouTube videos or other videos. So to have people with other phones, like the only really way you can enjoy Path and create on Path and post to Path is with a smartphone. And so I'm glad that they're bringing in Windows Phone users.
I actually didn't see this coming. I didn't think they would care about Windows Phone, but it's great that they are doing that, and there's no date yet, right? We don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly
this is Path, right? They said we're coming out with an Android version, and they said, yeah, we're coming out with an Android version, like 1,000 times before they actually went ahead and flashed it at South by Southwest, and then didn't bother to give a date and just released it.
I mean, I don't look that excited because I'm kind of.
You're Tony. You never look excited.
No, I'm waiting for Google Plus.
What? What do you mean you're waiting for Google Plus on Windows
there's no-
Phone?
Plus still
Yeah.
doesn't exist on Windows Phone. Yeah,
No.
Why?
and it only exists on iOS, but in a very limited.
Well, it works on the iPhone.
It works on the iPhone. Yeah, I want an iPad app, I guess.
Can you upload images using the iOS app?
Yeah.
You could. Okay. So
But
that's
you got to use.
And it also does that direct sync thing where it'll go
yeah.
where
Upload
anything
all
you
your-
take,
yeah.
it'll upload automatically.
into a
which is
private.
nice.
Yeah. So that's really the only thing that's holding me back from switching to Windows Phone.
Why don't you
full-time.
just use Google Plus in the browser?
You can't upload images, and I take a lot of pictures.
And this is the thing that's stopping you from switching to Windows Phone.
literally,
That's the
literally, I'm
only
not even
thing.
kidding.
You also can't.
I mean, I got two
join
Windows. I have
Hangouts
two
and-
Windows phones, and
Yeah.
you know,
I find this to be a silly.
I'm
argument.
reviewing one right now. and
That's all.
it's
That's all it would take for you to be on Windows Phone is if Google came out with an app.
Google Plus. Yeah.
In,
And
do they have any apps on?
No, there isn't. There's just a couple. There's a few in the marketplace, the store, and you can download them, but they're really just shortcut from your live tile into your browser. So you're using the mobile version on the browser.
Let's talk about a lamp, shall we? Chad, you like lamps, right?
I love Lamp.
Would you like to tell us about one?
Yeah, so this is, as you brought this up, it's a lamp that tries to save energy, but the way it saves energy is by turning itself off. There's actually a little video. I actually haven't even watched it myself. By turning off the lamp every time you close your eyes. Now, you might think, I don't close my eyes all that often, but it'll turn it off when you blink, when you yawn, when you sigh and face palm. It'll but mostly it's when you shut your like blink. Whenever you blink, it'll turn off the lamp. Okay, so what are your feelings about a lamp that saves energy by shutting off every time your eyes are closed, most likely when you're blinking?
Well, you have to wear a sensor by your eye in the first place. So that's the first weird thing, and that's attached with wire. So it's not wireless. So you're connecting to your eye, and this is obviously not like a for sale product. This is as like a little experiment. I don't know if I want the lights flickering on and off, but then again, I don't know if you would even notice.
Yeah, technically.
How fast is this light?
Yeah, the idea is you wouldn't notice. Now they use, unfortunately, an incandescent bulb in the little video, and so you can see it dimming down and then dimming back on. But if they use something like LED, maybe you would never notice. The thing is Tony, do you have anything before I jump into my final spiel about it?
I mean, this will work great for Alex Gumpel, who falls asleep in bed.
Oh yeah. So if you fall asleep
in bed,
the lights
then
are off.
the lights are off. Yeah.
That's nice. That is a good point.
Yeah.
But they were touting that it would happen while you blink, and there was actually a MythBusters episode talking about there was a myth that you should actually just leave the lights on all the time because the act of shutting them down and then turning them back on uses actually more power than it would just when they were on. They tested this theory and they found out that it's only true if the lights are off for like half a second. So it uses up so many watts per second. And while it's turning on, it does use more, and while it's shutting off, I don't think it uses more, but it's mostly when it's powering on. And so I was like, well, so turn off the lights whenever possible, unless if for some reason you're just sitting there flicking the light. And that's exactly what you're doing when you blink on and off. So it seems like the only case where the light, we're shutting off, we're keeping the light on for a longer period of time because to save energy versus turning them off would be about the length of a blink.
So if you really care about the Earth, you have to blink for a very long time.
Right, you would have to like 2 seconds and then come up. So in all practical cases, this is actually not helping the environment. This is not saving energy because the length of a blink is not enough time to actually need to turn off the light and turn it back on. You're actually using more power in that scenario.
Well, nice going, Dream Killer.
Yeah.
Somebody out there wanted to
Sorry.
make a difference on the Earth, carbon footprints and all that. Now you've ruined this guy's dream.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I feel much better about myself because I'm helping the environment, actually.
You helped the environment.
I did.
You've crushed somebody.
I gave it a hand.
Yes, you gave it quite a hand. Let's thank our sponsor, who we don't have. So thanks, nobody. Hey, Tony,
What's up?
what's going on with Valve?
I don't know what's going on. No. I'm just kidding. So Valve employee spills the hardware beans about wearable computers, and so this guy Michael Abrash, he was assigned to work on something in R&D project on wearable computers, and according to his blog post, he's actually looking to expand his research team at Valve. And he also mentioned Steam glasses, which I thought was interesting. Around the same time that we heard about Google glasses or Google Goggle, and but he did mention that there's not going to be any announcement at E3 this year. But I picked the story.
Do you want wearable tech from Valve?
That's the thing. I saw this story stood out to me because I don't know if they should be the ones that's bringing this out to us. I mean, we got Nintendo bringing 3D to portable gaming. We got, Vita's got, bigger touch display. And Valve, I'm not really sure what they... Yeah. I mean, it's R&D, but they're...
There's been other stories when I was, looking for stories for Game On. There were a lot of rumors about hardware coming from Valve. There were rumors about was Valve coming up with a new console. They wanted to hire a Linux developer. They wanted to hire like a hardware designer. I'm actually think I'm making that one up. But there's been a lot of rumors around hardware around Valve. So it seems... And Valve is interesting because of one of the ways they work is an employer will just come up with an idea and then start to work towards it, and they'll help them out with pods of people that will shift around the company. So that's interesting in its own right, but it really does seem like Valve is pushing some sort of hardware initiative.
I mean, I don't know if you remember at CES there was this huge headgear thing that runs Android.
Okay.
3.0, and then Eileen was all ready. I was going to shoot some B-roll for it, and we were waiting in line, and she comes back to me, and she's like, they have to charge it. We can't shoot it right now. I was like, okay, well, and that thing was huge. I mean, we're talking about half a helmet.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine anything small like the Google glasses concept where, it's only, half and goes around like, just the edge. I mean, it's like, how is this powered?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have to wear
I've always imagined that these things would be powered by a little backpack. I mean, even if it's the size of an iPad, put all the horsepower of one of these things into a tiny little backpack, but still, you have this extra thing something that's as small as normal glasses.
Yeah, but
I don't think that's available.
I don't know if it'll be just like that kind of like augmented reality thing. I would imagine if Valve's going to go into this, it'd probably be more like the motion control kind of stuff. Because that makes more sense for them. They push out games or like...
It's just a peripheral that as you're sitting at your desk, you can plug it into your computer.
Yeah.
And as you're at your desk, you're doing...
I mean, I've seen some really cool like haptic feedback kind of things. I could imagine Valve doing that. And so like maybe if they hook up with the lamp guy, when you blink, you buy something from Steam by accident.
Right. You look at an app and then you blink and then you've bought it.
Exactly.
And hopefully you don't get anything stuck in your eye, otherwise you'll buy it 5 times.
Exactly. That's what I expect to happen.
Yeah. That's completely plausible. Easily done. Yeah.
So we've got nothing else for this episode.
We could talk about that thing that
thing that guy did?
Yeah. So
that was a good thing.
Yeah, that one thing. No. Actually, something that I was interested in was Microsoft. They were asking for people to, frequently put out, job listings, and they had a job listing for an HTML, developer, for Skype. For Skype coming to web browsers. Now, this is interesting on a few different points. One, Skype in web browsers sort of already exists in Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So either they're looking to expand that capability or come up with something new. And my first reaction is, I wish they wouldn't do this. I wish they would just worry about the desktop experience, about the app that already exists. I wish they would just focus on that.
But if you don't have to use that desktop software anymore, and the web version was good, and you could run it on anything,
that might be neat.
So instead of
you
going,
wouldn't have to install it you just go to a web page and then it would play awesomely, hopefully.
And no question of what version are you running. Just go to skype.com/whatever it is and then
but
go.
then you couldn't roll back to the previous version that worked because you would just have a web browser.
well,
That's what we do
clearly
here.
Skype would never put out anything that doesn't work, right?
You're right. They don't do that now.
No, that's why I was cleaning out one of my computers and I saw that I had the DMGs for Skype 1.4, 2.1, and 2.3. I refused to delete them because
'cause you need them.
you kind of need them because when they went to 5.9 or so on Mac, they kind of actually 5.9 is not bad. They actually brought back a really functional thing. If you guys didn't know, Skype on Mac OS 10 is a cluster duck.
Yeah.
It's kind of a
I don't
mess.
understand. Hangouts have been available for a few months, 6 months. I don't know. I haven't looked at the calendar. They have Skype doesn't even offer video chats with more than 3 people.
Well,
they do. They want you to pay for
Yeah, you
it.
got to pay for it.
Who wants to pay for that? You can have up to 10 people on a Google Hangout, and you don't have to. It's in the browser already. That doesn't make any sense to me. Skype, get your freaking head in the game.
You mean Microsoft?
Microsoft. They're same thing. I knew that when we talked about the story. It's just becoming me yelling at Skype.
Well, yeah,
Don't
because
worry about this HTML5 stuff. Fix the stuff you have now.
that's just because we use Skype very regularly.
Yeah, but so could all these. It's an amazing idea and an amazing product. Why don't they just make it better?
Do you think that normal people use Skype to the point where they are irritated with it?
They could if it was a product that the moment you installed it, it worked. They could if it was a product that once you installed it, you intuitively figured out how. Telling someone how to change their microphone settings is like pulling teeth with Skype.
Well,
Why isn't it easy?
Why isn't it easy? Because
Why isn't there just a gear that you click and then you can change your stuff, like with Google Hangouts?
That's crazy.
Skype is the worst.
No, wait, wait a second. This is like a first. Somebody's saying that Google has a better interface.
Way better interface.
Than something else.
I don't know
Google.
I don't know about better interface, but it's easier.
It's easier.
It's easier to get your settings to change.
What Skype should be worrying about is getting grandma on video chats. And Google Plus Hangouts is way closer to doing that.
Yeah, good
than
luck.
Skype is.
Good luck explaining Google Plus to your grandma.
No, it's way easier. You sign up for an account. You add me in your circles. You just drag my icon into a
You
circle.
just lost it right there with the circles.
You just drag it in, right? You click Hangout and you invite me, and then it's there. You don't. Maybe you have to install the Google video chat thing, but you'd have to install Skype anyway.
I think grandma is better off using FaceTime, where you just call her and she just pick up the iPhone and press the green thing.
Yeah, when
and
it
she
connects.
sees you.
Yeah, but you have to buy an iOS device, which is rather expensive. Just to.
Well, you can get an iPod
Should we
Touch for $200.
Should we check what's going on this television behind me right now?
They just made a right hand turn.
I'm all
There's a
angry
right
about
turn.
Skype now.
Okay, so no.
That's great.
Nope.
I don't
Nope.
know. That's
Wait.
Greg, try again. There you go, Greg. There we go. Okay, so if you're wondering what's going on, what are you seeing right now? It looks like a little green arrow. Is that it, Tony?
yeah,
Yeah.
right by Bakersfield.
Yeah. So right now we're tracking the Twit truck as it comes back from NAB. A bunch of Twit people were there. I think it's just Jordan and Liz driving back.
Yeah.
So if you want to know what Liz is doing, she is turned into a big green arrow and is driving a green arrow. There we go.
That's Twit's green arrow, right?
Oh, is it? They own the arrow?
Well, we're renting the arrow.
We're renting the arrow. It's a very special looking car. It just kind of glides over. Very nice. So I don't know where they are. Anyway. Anybody got anything else to say?
Bakersfield here.
Bakersfield?
Wait, so before we get off Skype, I just had one quick question. A while back, they put integration into Facebook, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Have you guys used Skype on Facebook? Maybe that's easier than using Skype?
No.
I haven't.
Also,
I haven't done it
that's
yet.
in the browser, right? Maybe it'll work better.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
I am ignorant when it comes to Skype on Facebook because I don't like Facebook. So.
Very depressing episode today. We got rants. We got the death of Chumby. We have green arrows flying around. We got Path coming to Windows
We
Phone.
have lamps that are supposed to save you energy, but
Yeah,
don't.
Yeah, this is the downer episode. We're sorry about depressing you this weekend. That's why
Well, Path is coming to Windows Phone.
Path is coming to. Yeah, that's I don't know.
No date though. That's
So we have
But they care. They care
and
about it.
fictional wearable computers from Valve. So just a real letdown today. So go out there and go have fun. If there's a story you think we should have covered, something more uplifting, you can email us, at ion@twit.tv. We actually have that now. Costs us a lot of money, pretty penny. Colin said it costs $40 for each letter, which I thought was kind of expensive, but what do I know? You can leave us a voicemail, 321-22-OTHER, if you want to. Don't know why you'd want to, but you could. That's it, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Very depressing episode.
Yeah.
This is 420
It is 420. Oh, is it 420 right now?
It's 441.
Oh, we missed 420.
on 420.
We blew
This
it.
is the worst episode ever.
That's the title. Bye.
I'm sorry, guys. I failed you.
Were you supposed to play the music? Actually, you played it enough.
You did play it.
You want the music?
Let's
Okay.
play it.
That's a No Resist 29.
This thing doesn't work.
You couldn't think of that?
No, I couldn't think of this.
Let's not swear now. That was
Welcome
the most
to
amount
another
of.
news with Ayaz Akhtar and Tony Wang and Chad Johnson.
That was the most swearing I've ever heard.